So this one's going to be Podcast Illuminati, episode 1 of Podcast Illuminati, because, dude, I hear so much now. David Sinra, Chris Williamson, Andrew Huberman, the TBPN guys, they all have this secret group, and they all have these things that they are trying out. Even Alex Hormozy on there. They're trying these things out, and we don't know about it. But I have been keeping my eye and ears out for what they've been doing, and I've got 5 things that I've seen in the past probably month that I'm going to tell you about it, Garrett, first, and I'm going to get you to pick which one we're going to talk about first. All right, 1, Alex Hormozy said going live is the new thing. Going live, okay? Number 2 is Q&As with people that you're talking about in your sphere of influence. Q&As, live Q&As, or not live Q&As, but just Q&As. All right, the chat is a guest, okay? The chat is a guest. TBPN have talked about the chat being a guest. And then cameras, talking about cameras being super important. How many cameras do you have? Do you have 1? Do you have 3? Do you have 10? Do you have 20? I don't know. We'll talk about cameras. And then education plus entertainment. Those two together make great content. All right, Garrett, which one do you want me to talk about first?
I want to talk about going live, because I've tried to pick your brain about we should be going live. What is this thing? What's the trend? What is it? So what? Now what?
So going live is a very, I'm going to say, a dirty way of putting content out there. People want to see the dirt. People don't want to see this constructed content as much. But what I will say is there is a caveat to that. You probably have to have a pretty darn big following, potentially, if you want to go live and you want people to see it live, right? Alex Hormozy talks about this, is that trust is the most important thing in today's world. They want to trust you. And when you're putting cookie cutter content together and it looks perfect and all this other, people are like, man, like, I want to see the failures. I want to see the ums. I want to see the movement of the camera. I want to see the coughing. I want to see all this stuff because I want to trust you and I want to know that you're a real person. Exactly.
That makes a lot of sense to me, that like in the AI era,
boom, you got it.
It's just like prepackaged, like that is the commodity, is producing stuff that looks perfect. And so it's funny how the pendulum swings. And
the barbell strategy, right? It's, I want really dirty content, not dirty being like sexual dirty, but
raw. Just say raw.
Raw. Sorry, I want raw content. I want to see this person.
I want polished content.
And then I want polished content. I want to see the Odyssey movie, right? Like both flavors.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one. No
Me
spoilers.
neither.
I've read the Odyssey. Big brag. I think, to your point, I've wanted to go live ever since you kind of showed me that people are starting to go live. Like last week, I was like, let's just record this live. We're going to stream it to no one right now. And then the recording, we'll just publish the recording as our episode. So we kill 2 birds with 1 stone.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it kind of like lends itself to this thing is if a tree falls in the woods, does anyone hear it? If you're going live and there's no audience, does that even matter? Like, is the raw content still going to be good if people are not watching it live? Do people actually watch the recordings of the live streams? That's the kind of stuff that I want to know.
Right.
Because it changes for me whether or not the sequencing matters. Because we could get pretty good at being live if we just are live. And then when we get the audience, you know what I'm saying?
Well, and to your point, the TBPN going live 5 days a week, that's different, right? If it's something that you're like, hey, I'm going to go live for an hour. Like, there's this guy named Jack Mallers. He goes live every Monday at 3 p.m. Pacific time. Every Monday, I can count on Jack going live 3 p.m. Pacific time. So there's a difference, because then you go, okay, I know Jack is going to give me in the universe knowledge about what's going on at 3 p.m. Pacific time. So like the timing matters and how many times you're doing it matters. And so you have to be consistent. So that's one other thing to think about, is like, if you're going to go live, do it consistently at a specific time, because people can look forward to that.
Dude, this is huge, because it's a big cultural thing, it's a social thing that we used to all watch the same thing on television.
Saturday Night Live, baby.
But everyone was watching the same things.
Exactly.
Because there's like a limited number of channels, and they came out at the same time each week. So this is like a nostalgia poll, but I think it's actually not nostalgia for its own sake. It's because it is human nature to want to have this common experience.
For sure. Where
I know that at 3 p.m. we're all going to be seeing this for the first time, and it's happening now. And then the second thing I want you to talk about is the chat. Because that is a modern addition to this experience. It's not like you're all watching Survivor Thursday nights. You know, everyone in America, and then you talk about it the next day. You're watching it at the same time with the same audience, and you're communicating live. with the people who are doing the show.
And so you just explained it, which is awesome. I love, so people like TBPN, that's awesome. Like they have started to make the chat almost like its own guest, right? So the chat is very uncertain. You don't know what's going to be talked about in the chat. And so I think we both looked at a Twitter post or an X post where they were going to talk about AI, or they were going to talk about a certain subject. They had done like weeks of research on it. And then when they were talking about it, it was really flat and nobody was really, and the chat was like, no, dude, we want to learn about this. This is going on right now. We just heard about the Elon Musk thing, what he posted to X about Donald Trump. So we want you to talk about that. And so the chat, if you're going live, building off of that, you can actually use the chat to help guide you to hear what the people want, right? And so I think that's very interesting, obviously, because you're building an audience. Once you build your community and your audience, you're going to want to know what they want you to talk about. And so having that live chat and somebody actually in the background following the chat, letting you know, hey, they want to do this. Alex Hormozy has somebody following their chat. Jack Mallers has somebody following their chat. It's interesting because I'm hearing all this Illuminati people be like, hey, what's going on in the chat? So that's it. That's its total other audience that you're bringing in your community. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's super powerful when you get that responsiveness. So like if it exists just to exist, then you have like a bunch of trolls. But if you're responsive to your audience,
yes,
the cycle of responsiveness used to be post, people put static comments in whatever platform, so it'd be like YouTube comments, or they reply to it on X, and then you're kind of like, hey, I'm collecting this. That time span, the cycle for this feedback was super slow. Now it's immediate. And I remember reading about the TVPN guys. It's like they were doing some analysis, and somebody was like, "That's wrong. That's like the best way to get the right answer on the internet is post the wrong answer." So they're talking about it. Somebody says that's wrong. Actually, it's this, and they go, "Oh, boom!" Change their analysis live, and then it like made the show.
It gives you credibility.
It gives them credibility because, there's a little humility there. Oh, we don't know everything. Thank you for that. And that just, I think, starts, a bonfire really effect of like, oh my gosh, now the chat recognizes I'm a part of this.
I have influence. I can put a quote in there. Dude, yes, that's so smart.
I can be the one to fact check. And they're like, hey, thanks, Panda Bear 467 shouts out.
And dude, Panda Bear blows up. Account blows up.
It's crazy to me that it's taken this long for the power of something like Twitch, which like some of the biggest media stars in the world are live streamers for games and some other things, and have been for a while now in terms of their weekly following and how much they're making. And now these podcasters are like, oh, wait a second, let's like move. Let's do
the same thing. Yeah, let's try this. Let's try this in our world.
It's kind of funny that like it's taken them this long, but I think it kind of speaks to this next thing I want you to talk about, which is the cameras. Right. Mm-hmm. So I think podcasts used to be, you and me,
one camera,
same in one room. Like, what is this camera thing that everyone's talking about?
So I heard Chris Williamson talking about number of cameras when he was interviewing / doing a podcast with David Sinra. And David Sinra was like, oh yeah, I only had 3 cameras. And then somebody told me I need 5 cameras. And then Chris Williams said, well, actually you should do 7 cameras. And it's like, oh, like the camera flex is keeps going up. And it was just funny because he showed during the podcast, he was like, I can make a totally different angle of me, and it can be a totally different feeling when I say this thing with different cameras. And so I thought that was interesting. Obviously, if you have 7 cameras, like you have to have people running it, and it's like a huge ordeal and stuff like that. But I thought that was interesting because it's like playing with the number of cameras. And also people have realized, and I saw this little tidbit like a long, long time ago, where people's like attention can only last for like 5 seconds. And so you have to change the camera angle at like every 5 seconds or every, so often, so people their gaze gets locked in on something else so they don't get tired of it.
Yeah, no, I think that used to be done with editing. So I've seen some tricks where people will do some kind of like the pan, like,
and Riverside does a good job of that, I think, too.
Yeah, so it kind of tracks the motion a little bit to keep people's eyes on the screen.
Mm-hmm. The zooming in and zooming out used to piss me off. I'd literally see videos of just like, whoop, whoop.
Yeah, so that's excessive. That's like brain rot. I think like a nice. The reason why I think the movement and the panning and the different angles works is they're treating the video format with
like
respect.
You're there. Yeah.
No, they're treating it with respect because
that's true.
Because you think about like the ways that the Diary of a CEO producer editor. We saw an interview with him. He quit his job. He's moving on to something else. He's a film guy. When Diary of a CEO and Chris Williamson and all these like cinematic podcasts started to take off, they were like, wait a second, if you're going to do video, you might as well do video. And this barbell strategy, we're going to be super high end, great cameras, great lighting. We're going to edit these trailers. It's going to, like, these lessons of what works for cinema have been out there. This is what you do in order to make this high quality. Now they're saying, wait a second, we're playing a different game here. Let's, let's like take it to the highest, level for the thing that we're doing. So it's like it's a respecting the product when you're doing all of those cameras, all the sound, all the engineering, all the time for that finished product.
And so to build on that, if you don't have 7 cameras like Garrett and I, the other topic that I wanted to talk about is education plus entertainment. So if you don't have like a big budget for your podcast, or you don't have, a ton of resources to help you podcast, Alex Hormozi talks about how pairing entertainment with education is very fun to watch for people, right? You don't want it and so that was something that I actually just tried to do with my presentation up at a school, is like make it entertaining, because when you're talking about stress management, it could be like a real, bore. And so, gosh, sorry, pulling a Joe Rogan with clearing my throat. Shout out Joe. All right, last one. Anyways, but Alex Hormozi said pairing entertainment with education, and in the education piece allows you to be a subject matter expert, so people can believe in what you're saying. The entertainment piece keeps people entertained in the sense of like, gosh, you're talking about getting over your skis, and we don't want to just hear how it happened. We want you to tell a fun story of how it happened and it be entertaining throughout the time. So
absolutely. No, I don't care if you're live. I don't care if you have a chat. I don't care if you got 20 cameras. If you're boring, I'm not going to watch you. And that's
even David Sinra, when he's reading a book, it sounds entertaining.
Well, he brings energy. I think he's entertaining in part because he just starts to get like,
yes, and he gets excited.
Like his game, his eyes. His game is, I'm going to talk about an episode number, and I'm going to pull that out of the hat, and it's like, whoa, like this whole thing that he does is engaging. And so I think there's a few different ways to entertain. The easiest, highest leverage way to entertain is stories. We talked about that with Jason. Go watch that episode.
Facts.
Learn how to tell good stories. We're trying to get better at telling good stories. It just lights you up, and it activates the part in your brain that makes somebody, okay, now I'm engaged, I'm listening. And then you can actually like pay attention long enough to learn something.
100%. So, and then the last one is Q&As with people in your community, or who your community wants to hear from.
Okay, so are you talking about like the Alex Hormozi format where I've seen him? He's in a room. People show up and they're like, "My business is at 10 million. How do I get it to 100 million?"
That is a format.
Raise prices.
That is a format. That is super helpful, because people like MFM is doing it. Alex Hormozi is doing it. And I think those are the two biggest ones that I can think of off the top of my head. But essentially bringing people that other in your community want to hear from. They're like, hey, we've heard from you a bunch. Like, can you talk to other people? Because can you give them help? It's super helpful. Or not super helpful. It's not the right word. I think I'm just seeing that a lot. Q&As from actual people in the community that listen to the thing, because then that also gives you clout, right? Yeah. Like people want to come on and talk to you. So like Garrett and I have talked about, hey, how can we do Q&As? And we're going to pick a segment of people that we want to do Q&As with. I think we're going to try to do veteran entrepreneurs or veteran businesses, or just veterans in work that have worked at different places. And that's going to be kind of our niche, I think we're going to see, but this is kind of a shout out to see if we do that. But the Q&As piece, I think, creates uncertainty. And so then you can hear from other people in the community.
Yeah. Are these all like live events?
No. See, exactly. So MFM, they still record their Q&A sessions. I think MFM has only gone live a few times. So going back to the live piece, I think that's a great point, Garrett. Don't just go all live, and don't just go only recorded content. I think you can mix it in there every now and then to try it out. Going back to the Ron Johnson guy, don't just completely change what you're doing just because you think you're going to be right. It's like, hey, test it out. And Alex Hormozi said, you know what? I'm going to go live for 30 days straight. And he's still doing that, I think, at this point. But he's like, I'm going to go live on Instagram for 30 days straight. So maybe try it, something like that, but still make recorded content and put it out there. But so those are the 5 areas. I just want to wrap up this. We want to make this down and dirty and quick and raw. We got going live is a new thing. Not new thing, but like people are doing it more to create trust. Q&As from your people in your community so that you can see who's out there and people can actually get some uncertainty content. The chat as a guest, TBPN. Cameras, If you have one, you're not in the minority. And if you have 7, Chris Williamson will pat you on the back. And then education and entertainment, combine the two. Try to make whatever you're talking about fun to watch.
Yeah. That's first and foremost is you got to have something that people want to engage with as content.
That's what's going on right now in the podcast Illuminati. We'll bring back more stuff later, guys.